These two islands behind me were planted a few years ago with trees and shrubs. Um, this island has done very well, the trees and shrubs have all done very well, but this island they haven't all done very well, so we're going to go back to it and plant some more trees and shrubs and look after the ones that are there. So these are two garden islands. This is the garden, and this bank here and this camellia hedge is the edge of the garden, and then in there is woodland. This camellia hedge continues on to the edge of this island here. So there's like a broken camellia hedge which marks the edge of the island, so it's marking those two islands as part of the garden. So I also want to get over there and see exactly what has survived and see what it needs doing over there. So I've got to load all these things into the wheelbarrow and then into the boat. I got these today, two flowering cherries, Yedenensis and a Chirote. One flowers earlier than the other, one's white, one's pink. They should go well together, and flowering cherries do well here. So they go in the wheelbarrow first. Just gently lay them down so they're pointing straight. Like that. We've got quite a collection of shrubs. Most of them came from the garden centre sale I went to about a month ago. So I've got these three hydrangeas. One's got nice flowers like that. One's a pinky one, and I don't know what that one is there, because that was in the sale. And then I've got a lilac, again it was in the sale, I'm not entirely sure what colour it is or anything. And I've got a nice Bugelia that's Bristol Ruby, and also Carrier japonica. They can sucker and become quite a nuisance, but on an island I guess they'll be quite contained, so that's alright. I really like them. They have little puffy, pom-pommy yellow flowers for about April. And then over here I've got a few acid lovers. So I've got a Cynodendron, which is lipstick plant. It has like these big red drooping flowers, and there's a forsythia. That doesn't need to be here, that can go over with those ones. And Kalmia, this one. I've got two types of Kalmia that have both been waiting to be potted for ages. One of them's latifolia and one's angustifolia, but I've had them in pots for so long that the labels have gone. So one's sheep laurel and one's mountain laurel. But there's lots of plants called laurel. They're not related to any of the other plants called laurel, but they're related to each other. So either sheep laurel or mountain laurel. Lovely flowers in the late spring, early summer. They're very nice and quite unusual. So now I've got to load them all into the wheelbarrow, but I've got a problem. It looks like the wheelbarrow is free now, so I can start loading them up. So these shrubs are some other shrubs which are left over. So if I run out of shrubs, I've got some more shrubs. Or if I don't plant all the shrubs, then I'll bring them back here. These ones, I'm going to do a rose garden at some point soon. So this is my future rose garden. So generally speaking, tall things first, and have them pointing forward, so that when you go through narrow places they don't catch, they can go straight through. I'll show you in a minute. Load up as many as you can. So as you can see, I can easily fit through this narrow gap here. When you're unloading a wheelbarrow, always remember to keep it a balanced weight all round, otherwise it will tip over. I'm just putting the plants over here for now. The taller ones I'm laying down so they don't get blown over in the wind and damaged. Come on, big out. Always tie this to something to stop it drifting away. Like that. Right, now I load up the boat. So I'm putting sharp things like bamboos, scissors and garden tools in first so they're not out of the way and hidden down the bottom. And then I get the plants. Once again, the tall things in first, pointing forwards. Of course, I've got to be able to row and stuff as well, so hopefully there's enough room for all these. I might have to move them around a bit, perhaps. Yours. Let's see if I can get in here. So now, see if I can row like this. I mustn't make the mistake of putting the oars on the land like I did the other day, because then the boat drifted off and I had to paddle with my hands. That was hard and it was dark as well. So the oars are going to stay there. And we'll rope and chuck that there and put on a rope and I'm going to tie it to this tree over here. See what's here and work out what's going to be planted here. Got this cherry tree here, which has been there a while and it only just started growing the last few years. So that's okay. That's okay. We've got a witch hazel here. Nothing else to survive here by the looks of things. Nothing here. I've got one of those, it's like a cornice that has big flowers, and that's quite nice. That's in a slow growing, but it's going to have a nice mulch today, so hopefully that will make it grow faster. There were two of these, but I think there's only one now. Viburnums do really well here. We've got the snowball tree, It's a bit like a Guelder Rose. And then we got this really nicely scented viburnum from last year. No, not last year, it's a few years ago, the garden centre sale. They usually flower in the very early spring and they're really, really, really strongly scented. So that's doing well. It's got some nice growth from the base. I don't know what that is. Right, and just here, some little acer tree that doesn't seem to have done terribly well. Oh, and what's that? Oh, that's the ragged robin. Just a wild pond plant. Right, so let's start with the bench, I think. Right. Geese have been very noisy today. Alright, so first thing I'm going to just clear the bench because you need somewhere to sit and appreciate what you've done. So the bench, that makes the bench the most important thing. Plants that you bought from a garden centre are often in very small pots and they're kept in drip feed so they don't need constant attention, but you need to water them an awful lot. You need to plant them straight away or put them in a bigger pot. So I'm just going to dunk them in the pond for now. And I'll just lay this down against the bank here. So now that the bench is clear from stinging nettles, I can sit here and look at the island and look at my shrubs over there and think where they're all going to go. So I'm going to take the bamboos off and all the tools. And find somewhere for them to go. Whoa. So this island was cut out by hand. The original surface area was a slope like this, I think, and this island was finished first. So this bit of the lake, all this side of the lake here, was all done by hand, and all that side was done by a digger last year. So this end of the island is higher than the rest of it. So all this bit here is, when the lake is full, it just sits above water level, just a few inches above water level. Whereas this side is considerably higher. That's partly so that if you're sitting here, you can see the pond here and here, and you don't have anyone walking past in the woods, they won't see you, but also you won't see them, so it creates more privacy between the garden and the woods. But this bit was planted years ago, at least 6 or 7 years ago. This bit was just a mound with just grass here before anything else was here. So these shrubs are more established. So we've got a lovely Philadelphus here which flowers every year. Has white flowers, very, very strongly scented. We've got can you see the fuchsia over there? And there's a crabapple tree. It needs straightening. It's stopped growing now. I think it's probably a bit early to straighten it, but since it's kind of hard to get to, we'll probably straighten it today. It's just leaning a bit, you know, and it's got some nice crab. Can you see those? Yeah. So that's a tree for up here, and then Stolwitzia. Is that right, Stolwitzia? Yeah, Stolwitzia. Pink flowers, very suckering shrub. I thought it would grow nicely next to perhaps the carrier because they're both suckering. And we've got tons of this Vinca major, this periwinkle here. But yeah, things are doing quite well here. And then at the back we've got a camellia hedge, which marks the edge of the garden. And then there's the woods over there. And then the camellia hedge goes along the edge of the garden like so. Now we'll go back and get the bark chips. We've got quite a few bags of wood chips. I'm going to put them on with the trees. So this is the ericaceous compost for the acid-loving plants. This first one is like an ericaceous or acidic mulch for the acid-loving plants. This one is more of a soil-based ericaceous compost, which is more for digging in the soil and improving the soil and making it more acidic for those plants. And then we got all these. If you put too much weight on one side, it will go like that. So you've got to always balance the wheelbarrow. I think I can fit another one in here. Right, that should do for now. Yes. Oh. I always try to get in the middle of the boat so I don't capsize it. And the boat's already. And now the rope. There's again. Whoa. A bit tricky. Whoa. Hell. Whoa! No, just this one. Whoa! At least wood floats. Right, and now the fun part, which is deciding where to plant things. So I'm going to start with the acidic things because I know where they're going to go. The crinodendron, maybe here, and the calmia bush somewhere here. Just put them roughly where they're going to go. Hydrangeas, now they like kind of a bit of shade, don't they? I'm not sure where they're going to go yet. I'll put them over there. Probably good to decide where to put the trees first of all. What's this one? Right. Cherote. I think that's the one that flowers slightly later. Or is it that one? I'm not sure. I think this is the slightly later flowering one. They have like white semi-double flowers. They're very nice. I might put it over here for now. Over the other side on the garden there. There's these two cherry trees there. They're cherote, I think. And one over there is the other one, the Yedenensis. So we've got the same trees on both sides of the water. I think the other cherry tree could go nicely here, because then we've got a whole inlet with flowering cherries both sides of it, which would be really nice. I'll just lay it down for now so it doesn't get damaged. I think I'm going to put the lilac bush here. It'll be in semi-shade on this side from the cherry tree, and then we'll have light coming in from that side. It should be fine there, and it'll grow nicely with this witch hazel. Yeah, a Regelia and a Calmia. I wonder where I'm going to put them. I'll put the Regelia here, and the Calmia is sort of suckering so it can spread and find its own space. So I'll put it somewhere where it's got a bit more competition and put it here, quite close to the tree. Hope that likes it there. I think a forsythia over here somewhere for nice yellow flowers in the spring. They're pretty tough. So now I'm just left with the hydrangeas. Right. Hydrangeas don't like too much light, sort of dappled shade, and they don't like drying out. So the sun comes from that side, so perhaps on this side somewhere, maybe there and there, and you've got this weird one. Where can that go? Maybe between the two cherry trees, because this is facing north over here, so perhaps there. I'm just going to see if this crabapple needs straightening or not. Yeah, I think it does. Really, I should wait till October to straighten trees, but it's going to be difficult to get to here. There's the bamboo cane I used to straighten it last time, which is sort of rotted. So, got a new bamboo cane. I'm going to put it here. It's stopped growing for the year, but it won't like being straightened this early. But it won't harm it though. I'll just do another one just to make sure it's secure. There. It's good to have a look around and see where you put them all and think, is that a really good place for them? And to research the shrubs and trees and see where they like and how much sun they like and what type of soil and everything like that. So I think I'm going to start with this cherry tree over here. So just make absolutely sure that it's in the right place. When we take off these little bits, the branches will branch out that way in a bit. So yeah, just put it over here and I'll start digging a hole. I'm not sure how deep the topsoil is here, but it seems okay here. I seem to remember it's shallower in the middle. The topsoil is quite nice. We dug it in with sand years ago, just a bit of sand like I did with the vegetable garden. It looks so nice. I'm going to test it out. Right. So, come a little closer. You can see that the tree is grafted here and somewhere else down here. So I want all this bit to be above the soil. So that's about right. I reckon that's about right. So in case you're wondering what that is, that's coconut fibre. The garden centre uses it because it stops weeds and it's a mulch. So I would keep that on. So now I've got to get these bits off. The lady at the garden centre is really trigger happy with these. She loves putting these on. She finds it therapeutic, she says. There's always a lot of them on here, but they're all secure. So, in fact, and they're not biodegradable, so I just put them in my pocket. Oh, I don't seem to have a back pocket. Yeah. I peel this one off. So pings out. See? Hey. And those ones. And now I'll take out the stick carefully because I can use that stick to stake the tree. Now we carefully take it out of its pot. There. Down like that. And just gently bash, really just not too hard. Just spin it round a bit. Make sure the branches aren't catching on anything. And then a bit more. Okay, and now make sure, because when trees are growing in plots, the roots tend to go down to the bottom and go round and round, and just want to gently tease them a bit, not too much, just the edges like that, you see, and that's enough, right? And see which way round the tree is going to go. Maybe like that. Want it to be about the same as the soil here, and just break up the soil and put it in the hole. The soil here is really nice, so I didn't need to dig a big hole. If you've got a unpleasant soil, you'd need to dig more, like I did when I was doing the video how to plant a tree in summer. There I had really poor soil and I had to bring the soil in, but here the soil's really nice. So cherry trees also, they've proven that they really grow well here. or at least the flowering type has in the wild ones. So yeah, just keep filling it in, break up the soil and gently stuff it down. You don't want any air pockets. Also making sure the tree is straight. Make sure it's nice and firm but not like compacted. And so the graft bit's above the ground. Yeah, so one graft bit there, one graft bit there, both above the ground. So below that's okay, but you wanted the graft to be above the ground. Otherwise, the top bit grows in and all sorts of things can happen. Right, and so look at it from different ways. Make sure it's straight. And just firm it in nicely with your feet. And then on the side of the prevailing wind, which here is from the southwest. So south's over there, west's over there, southwest is here. I put this in the ground here. And I find the string. Oh, and you've got to give it good water as well, but I've forgotten to bring the watering cans. Of all those things I brought, but I've forgotten the watering cans. Always when you're planting something, give it a good water in, even if it's been wet weather. And give them a really, really good soak. And you can do this with your fingers to stop the water washing soil away. And of course, when we finish doing all of them, we're going to put some bark chips down as well. So same again with this other cherry tree. That's about right. So I'm going to take all these nasty bits off. She says she finds it really therapeutic. She just loves putting these bits on. They always are very sturdy and very well looked after. Ooh, hey! Right, and of course these bits are not biodegradable, so I'll put them in my pocket for now. As with before, just gently remove that bamboo. Oh, got another one. And of course this bamboo I can then use as a stake like I did with the other one. Just like before, gently tap, turn around, tap, 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 tap. Just make sure the branches aren't getting caught in anything. And there we are. Keep the pots nice and tidy in a stack. And just gently tease the roots again like before. And then, these trees have a sort of, they spread outwards more than upwards. They're like those Japanese cherries that you see in Japan with all the funny shaped ones. So they should like hang over the water really nicely. So these branches are all going over the water, so I'll have it going that way. Probably a bit more in the bottom here. Yeah, that's about right. And you've got the graft there and there, so it's quite low. So I just want to cover over that, but not have it any higher. Right, so just like before, make sure it's pressed firmly down the sides. And then break up the soil and put it in like that. And make sure the tree's straight, of course, so you might need to stuff more in that side so it's straight. And then tread it in with your feet. just not too hard because you don't want to compress the soil. Sort of around the edges of where the pot was. Just level it out a bit. So the graft's above the soil there. And then the stick. Southwest facing side. So kind of, that needs to straighten a bit more, so I'm going to put it here. Like that, and then get a bit of string. So just like with tomatoes, you don't tie it tight to the trunk because that will restrict the growth of the tree. But you can kind of go so far away from it and do just one knot like that. So it's got a nice big piece there, but it's supported by a branch, so it's not going to slip down the tree trunk. And then these got these little nodes on the bamboo canes. So if I secure it to one of those little nodes here, then it's not going to slip down the bamboo cane either. So make sure it's nice and straight. And I think that looks straight. Not quite. There. So for these shrubs, I'm just digging a hole so I can big enough so I can comfortably put the soil in, the pot in, and you know, put the soil around it. And the soil's quite nice, so I don't need to improve the soil or anything. But just chop it up a bit because it's easier to put in if it's chopped up. And for now, I'm just going to pop it like that. And I've done the same with all these ones. Forsythia here, Wigelia, lilac, carrier, and this peculiar looking hydrangea. Right, so shrubs are sometimes grafted, sometimes not grafted. This lilac is possibly grafted, so I'm going to have to plant that to the same height. Bash, 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 bash. And just tease the roots a bit as well. It's not as important as with a tree, but it's still important for so just a little bit like that. Put it in, and the same as with the tree really, with this one. I don't want it pointing over there probably. Break up the soil, put it in, like so. And tread it down around the edges. Like that. But this shrub here is most likely grown from a root sucker. It's not going to be grafted. Lots of shrubs are grown from cuttings and they're not going to be grafted. So this one I could plant deeper if I wanted to. These labels are a bit low down, so I'm putting them a bit higher up so they don't get lost in the soil. And then, excuse me, Ziggy. And then I'll tread this one down. Right. Don't need a label on the forsythia, I know what that is. Right. And finding the odd bulbs, so just put them back in again. And the Vigilia. This one has nice red flowers. Really quite pop bound, that one. This was in their sale, this one. Pretty leaning that way. I'll break all this stuff up and put it in there. This one will be a cutting, not a graft, to Vigilia, so it doesn't matter if you plant it a little bit too deep. Tread that one down. And make sure you give them all a really good soak. I'm giving 1 watering can to each shrub and 2 watering cans to each tree, and we've had heavy rain in the last few days as well. So it's really important for them to settle in, and if there's any dry weather, make sure you water them in definitely the first year and probably the second year as well, until they get properly established. Water one, let that soak in, water that one, let that soak in, and you got less running away. And then just go over them all and make sure they're nice and wet. So we've encountered a bit of a problem here where we want to put the acid lovers. Look, there's very shallow topsoil this end of the island. We can't really plant in that, so I think this bit is going to be a project for another day, this acid loving plants. Yeah, I'll do that another day. But for now, I'll put these back on the boat and I'll get the wood chips. Whee! I'll start with the cherry tree. I've got the odd little surviving thing from before, like this little acer, so I'll plonk some around the acer. Cherry tree. And some around this dogwood as well. Again, I don't want it to be above the graft. I'm not too worried about weeds being here, the grasses and things, that's fine. I'll keep them in check. But the mulch will kill off most of the grasses. It'll be easier to manage weeds then. It'll be very difficult to weed this whole island. If it was a herbaceous garden, it would be different, or a vegetable garden, but not for shrubs. Good. Remember to always use wood chips that are semi-rotted, because if they're not rotted, they reduce the amount of nitrates available in the soil until they start rotting. But when they're semi-rotted, they improve the level of nitrates in the soil. You can tell this is semi-rotted because it's really warm. Actually run out of wood chips, I've got to go and get some more. I'm just going to moor the boat to these bags of ericaceous compost since we're not going to use them today. That's nice and easy. It's a bit of a race against the fading daylight, but I think we're going to get there. So 4 inches, 10 centimetres deep, but it doesn't matter if you go a little deeper in places. And a bit for this witch hazel. Finally, the last bit for today, these hydrangeas. Hydrangeas are like a lot of organic material. They're well under trees, they'll love this. I think this tree could probably have a bit as well. Spread it out nicely. That's exhausting. Right, next we have to pack everything up and put it back in the boat. So all this rubbish tidied up, and it's always good to have the pots in a nice neat stack like that. Spades. Right, now these two, for the acid bit, I'm going to put them down on the shelf because it's a bit damper. And in fact I'm going to give them just a dunk. And they can stay here, semi-shade here. They can stay here till next time. The compost bags can stay here. And then when I do the acidic garden, I'm going to have to remove some of this subsoil, bring some soil in, and do this bit as a whole separate episode. I always do the rope into like this because it doesn't get tangled up, and put it somewhere. Always a bit of a balancing act. Now I'm the wrong way round. Go backwards. On the side. No? I don't think he wants a lift. Right. Phew, that was kind of exhausting. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And if you press the little me, which is down here somewhere, then you can see all my other videos. And I'll see you next time.